Yep. May not look like much, but this is where much of the magic happens, as they say. Just kidding, but seriously. We just moved all this office stuff into our office room now, which used to be a spare bedroom, because of the sauna. A great problem to have. Just like the ticking of time, wondering, could this be right? Today has been a day so far. It basically started nothing like I planned, which sometimes happens, right? This weekend I listened to a podcast, and it inspired me to start my day earlier. I used to be very much an early morning person, which means that I used to wake up around 5 or 5:30 on a regular basis, especially when we started FNX, just due to the day-to-day responsibilities that helped me get ahead of what I needed to do throughout the day when there were other people to do work with. And it allowed me to stay on top of my personal tasks, right? Not only that, but it allowed me to feed my body and fuel my spirit for the day. So whether that was like a quiet time, reading some scripture or praying or getting in part of a workout, sometimes a combination of both of those things, it was a very productive time for me. Then I got away from it, especially throughout the COVID time. I got used to kind of waking up when Elijah woke up in the morning, spending time with him, then getting my day started. But I've been motivated to get back on track. So I wanted to start this vlog by encouraging you guys, don't be married or be cement in your ways, right? Like, don't be totally committed to one thing. It's great to be committed and it's great to be set in your ways to a degree, but often you need to be able to pivot, change, and be agile enough in your thinking so that you can taste new flavors and have new experiences, because that's the only way that we're really going to know what optimization feels like, right? Sometimes we've got to kind of go away from the norm for a little bit and then switch our choice of attack or our means of attack. But nonetheless, this morning I wanted to get some work done, then work out, and it didn't happen. I got some work done and then kept working. And then when Elijah got up, I was with him while my wife got her training out of the way, and I tried to work a little bit more through that time. I did steal some time away to get a morning walk in with the family, which is always great. We met some new friends, so that's always nice. But then the rest of the day, I've got a live with the Brute Strength crew. So I'll hop on Facebook. I'm going to answer some questions there. I'm going to talk about programming. I'm going to talk about what they can expect for the month to come and kind of where we're going with the Brute Throwdown in October. Because essentially we're peaking all of our athletes to kind of get ready as like a mock open. We're going to have some fun with it. We're going to have some prizes. I think FNX is going to contribute some products to some of the weekly winners and overall winners. So it should be a good time. And then after this live concludes, I'm going to finally get my training in for the day. So I'll probably catch up with you again in the garage. I know I've got an aerobic piece that I'm supposed to knock out. And again, like the last video, I'm going to be out there in the heat, probably close to 92 today or so. Not quite as hot as last week, which I'm grateful for. But nonetheless, I'll catch up with you guys there. And remember what I said. Don't be afraid to adapt and change, right? Listen to the successful people around you. See what they're doing. But sometimes you got to rest. I'm exiting one of those periods, and now it's time to get after it. See you in 2. All right. Finally made it out to the garage. Today, from the Brute Strength program, there's some different interval options and some things that I'm not going to have time for. So what I've essentially done is I did something similar last week. If you guys watched the episode from last week, is that I'll put the chopping wood workout in front of my strength training today. I'll leave out some of the strength training pieces because we got little ones upstairs that are taking a nap. And then I will do some switching around so that I can still get to those pieces, but it'll be tomorrow when I train at the gym. So I'll leave out some of the snatch and clean work, and I will do some of the squatting and pressing, and then some of the gymnastics work after this run. But right now we've got a 21-minute run at roughly zone 2/3 in regards to perceived rate of exertion and heart rate stuff. So we'll see what we put down in 21 minutes, and I'll be back in here to move some weight. See you then. Just wrapped the 21-minute run. I tried to keep it relatively controlled. I didn't really warm up for it. So, other than like some dynamic stretching right here in my garage before I took off. Didn't want to waste too much time. So usually for something like that, I would either do some light intervals on the bike or do some shorter running intervals. So instead of like running 400 meters slow to warm up, I might do some dynamic stretching and then get into
a faster tempo run than I plan to pace throughout the 21 minutes, and do some shorter, like maybe 100s. So kind of like striding it out, getting my pace up, getting my heart rate up with some rest in between. They don't need to be nonstop, but maybe 4 or 5 of those. Bring my heart rate back down and then start my run. So if you guys aren't really sure how to warm up for like a longer run in your training, or don't know how to mix it up for the way that you prepare to run, even doing like bike intervals, for example, if I know I'm doing 7-minute bike intervals, instead of just hopping on there for 3 minutes at a steady pace, what I'll do is get on there for shorter intervals to get my heart rate up and get that intensity or that intention of my body, like create a higher arousal than necessary for the tempo of my intervals. And then I tend to perform better. So I actually don't know. Let me check here. Usually it pops up on my phone here exactly. My like running pace. I ran basically 3.06 miles. So it was roughly a 7 minute, 10-second pace, 7:10 mile pace. So pretty good. I'm pleased with that. In regards to like the effort that I tried to put out, and considering no warm up, because I think I would have been a little bit more smooth in the first 7 minutes of that run had I prepared my body a little bit quicker. But that's what happens when you're tight with time. But another rant for this vlog. Listen, if you're out there, you're a traditional CrossFitter, which means you go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week, and you're doing your gym's Metcon or workout of the day plus your strength work, whatever it is, add in some zone 2 work, add in some slow, steady, aerobic based type work. It's boring. Put on a good podcast, get you a pair of these Escape Sounds, ear pods, and put on a podcast, put on an audiobook, learn something. But that's the missing link in a lot of people. The traditional gym goers' performance, capacity gains. I can tell you that a lot, as a competitor, time is spent on ergs, a lot more time than you might imagine as a day-to-day gym goer. So don't be afraid to spend some more time on the ergs. Unless, of course, you're really, 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 really trying to get strong, and that's it, then you need to spend more time under the barbell and under heavy weight. But most of you guys benefit tremendously more from spending more time on a bike, more time on the road, pounding pavement, more time in the trails. Consider it like an active rest day type activity, but it's time for me to rest, rehydrate. I need to go get some refresh and some carbs in me, and then I'm gonna sling some of this barbell around. All right, so don't try to figure out how fast you're running when you have brain fog, when you're tired. Got some refresh in me, got some honey for my carbs, and clearly I ran just under a 7-minute mile pace. So it was basically a 6:58 pace for 21 minutes to put me just over 3.06 miles. Anyways, that makes me even more pleased with my pacing. I just wasn't paying close enough attention, and I was trying to talk to you guys and teach you some lesson about aerobic capacity or aerobic based training. Today's training for me involves back squat, bench press, strict press, and then some gymnastics intervals. So I got about 40 minutes left to get this work done. It's quite a bit. I'll keep you posted what the movements look like, how they feel, and maybe even how heavy I go today. The goal is be better than last week. We're in a bit of a linear progression right now. Next week, I believe, is a deload week, so we'll come off the weight percentages a bit. So enough of this chit chat, time to get work. Okay, so front squat, 4 sets of 5. I ended up doing a set every 2 minutes just to keep me on a schedule. Get me in, get me out. Finished at 295. Now we're back squatting. Same idea. Every 2 minutes, I'll execute a set of 5. Supposed to stay in a sweet spot based off of your 5 rep max. So I'm not gonna get crazy heavy. Try to stay pretty smooth and still feel like I'm building speed out of the bottom. 4x5, let's go. done back squatting. Stayed on the 2 minutes for 5 reps. I think stayed at 325 for the working sets. Bench press 4x5. Goal is finish heavier than we finished last week, and I think I finished at 235 or 225 last week, so I'm gonna start there. See if we can end at like 255 this week. Haven't benched in a while, but usually this is a lift that comes back pretty quickly. Let's push it a little bit. Oh yeah, definitely at 255. Second set of bench. Went 255 for the second set just because if I want to improve it, the goal is to start heavy and stay heavy, not just build to a heavy 5. So I'll do the remaining 3 working sets all at 255, see how we feel today. So we're a little tight on time. I'm gonna jump in, knock out this AOT gymnastics worth real quick. So advanced operator training in the brute programming is what it stands for. 3 bar muscle ups, 10 Russian swings, 3 bar muscle ups. 3 rounds for time. It's very short, very sweet. Working on tight transitions, getting a bit anaerobic here, trying to find space to breathe in the bar muscle ups and the swings. From the longer run and then all the strength work. It'll be a nice switch up of energy systems, but definitely not designed how I'm doing it today. All strung together, but it'll get me fitter. All right, that'll do it for today's training session. It was a busy day. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier, not everything works out the way it's planned all the time, and that's okay. I think you, especially you guys that are viewing this, most of you aren't professional athletes. Most of you aren't even, professional coaches. And so that means your kids, your family, your work, just day-to-day responsibilities can sometimes get in front of the ways that you want to prioritize your training. And it's going to happen. No matter how cutthroat you are, no matter how disciplined you claim to be, sometimes you've got to, adapt a little bit. And I think that's, it's a skill set and it's a strength that goes to those who are in it for the long haul. Because there are a lot of people who commit to outrageous goals or all or nothing type commitments. I'm gonna go to the gym every single day, or a lot of my friends are involved in this this hard challenge, or this challenge that's going on right now for 75 days straight. Right, they're working out twice a day. They're doing all these things. All those things are fantastic. Not many people are going to make it through, and then not many people are going to make it through. But then many people aren't going to attempt to get back on the bandwagon because they knew how hard they tried, and then they knew how big they failed, or how close it was for them to be compliant, and they just couldn't. So keep this in mind, even as you watch this episode of me kind of getting it in. I still got the vast majority of the training prescribed for the Brute Games Prep crew done. I just had to switch it up a little bit. I had to get it all done in one session, cut down the rest times, which maybe affected the intensity a bit. But I can say that I did my best, and I know for sure that I got something out of this training day. So take that lesson into your life, into your lifestyle. We can plan as much as we want to, but there's going to be curveballs. We got to adapt. You got to make contact. You might not always hit it out of the park, but keep focused on making contact with the ball. Keep taking swings. Have a good one.
Good morning. It's almost 5:30 in the morning, and today's one of those days that I'm going to go down and be in the office. So got down here to the basement to the home office to be a little productive before the morning gets going, before I spend some time with the family or the kids. Usually my wife's going to wake up and get her workout done here shortly before I hit the road. But the important thing is trying to be productive, make sure that I keep first things first here in regards to, responding to emails, if there's some elite ambassador engagements and orders that I got to fulfill and help out in that way, then we're getting that done. Because on days that I go down to the FNX office, it's really easy for me to be pulled multiple directions. So it could be meetings, it could be interviews, it could be lives that we do clearly for the ambassadors. But usually on days that I'm down in the office, we have at least one of those scheduled. And then right now, of course, content is king. So we're doing a lot more filming and photo capture and different ways to kind of tell the story of what the FNX actually is, right? Like what Phoenix, the story of the Phoenix is, who we are, where we came from, the reason of our origin, kind of our origin story. So nonetheless, keeping first things first, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a busy day, and we'll see what all we can include you guys in on. Hopefully whatever you're doing today, you crush it. Rise up.
All right, so I had a productive morning. Got plenty of the things done that I wanted to get done this morning, and I was only in there for close to an hour. So now, as you can see, I'm in the sauna, and I'm going to enjoy heating up in here, starting my day off with a good sweat. And I'm going to put on a podcast. I don't know if you guys have heard of The Path of Discipleship, but it's a great podcast by a guy named Chip Pugh. Originally was exposed to Chip through one of my trips down to Cookeville, Tennessee, and I think he was closely tied with like Faith RX at the time, but he's like he's a pastor, and so nonetheless, if you're looking for a great way to start your day spiritually, I've really found these episodes to be super valuable. They're roughly about 10 minutes. Some of them are 10, some of them are 12 minutes. But yeah, it's essentially just like a quiet time. And I think he does a really great job. Today is called, it's 10 minutes, and it's called The Smell of Victory. So I'm going to dive into this, kind of get my mind and my heart right, get my spirit set on some things, and start the day off in the way that it should be. Now, I don't always get a chance to do that, right? I don't always wake up early to have this time for myself. So sometimes I'll put on this podcast, on my way to work, and sometimes I'm getting in my spiritual nourishment in the evening. My wife and I'll do devotionals together, so sometimes we're reading then and then kind of discussing what we talk about. But on days when I have the opportunity and create that time and space in the morning for myself, it starts my day in an even better way than I anticipated. It always does. It always has an effect on, the way that I respond to the unpredicted things that come up in my day, whether it's relationally with someone else, whether it's personal, whether it's, it doesn't matter. So I would encourage you guys to do the same. Find time for yourself, whether it's early in the morning, in the evening, sometimes in the middle of the day, but carve out some space where you guys can, nurture your soul, right? And it looks different for everybody, and I understand that, but even if it's just meditation practice, breathing practice, becoming more self-aware, whatever that might be, create that time. You deserve it, and you'll be a better version of you because of it. Ultimately, this goes back to even what I was sharing with you guys yesterday about that podcast I was listening to. Was a Lewis Howes podcast, and it was about waking up early to create that little bit of extra space when the world is still quiet. So if you're watching this episode, maybe that was something you're supposed to hear, because clearly I'm echoing it. let's get this day started.
Okay, mid-morning we wrapped up our meetings at the office, and now we're at a place called the White Space, and we're actually doing some content capture. So as you can tell, I worked up a sweat. I just went and did my shooting. A lot of different moves, a lot of different variations. We're working on some ads, appearing to different, communities and different likenesses on the Facebook side of things and on Instagram. So we're always dabbling to see what works, making sure that we're agile and ready to pivot. So we do this quite a bit. It's myself, we got Kobe in there, we got Eris, we got Chelsea, we got Chase, and then of course we got the man behind the magic of all of our content. The vast majority of the content that you guys will see rolling forward is Brian Durkee. So I'll show you some behind the scenes, and hopefully this stuff turns out well. I'm sure you'll probably be seeing it on your profile before you know it. Oh yeah, we're in the White Space today. It's about to go down. Some content capture, huh? What do you think, Eris? Chase looks extremely excited. Hey, I'm glad. Look at that smile. Okay, he was feeling pretty sober. We got Durkee over there working his magic. I'm first up. Let's see what we got. Pushes are good. Well, it's a wrap on the White Space photo shoot. It was about a 2-hour shoot. We got some day-to-day content. We did some new ads. We got some teaser photos for some new products that are coming to you guys. One next month and one actually tomorrow. So those photos will go onto the website for the new stuff. But nonetheless, now we're back to the gym. Got to hustle over there, and we got a live for the ambassadors. Today we are addressing the impact of protein in your diet and burning fat. Like, what is its role? How does it play a role in you trying to produce more lean body mass? What is the lean body mass effect on your stored body fat? And we got a lot of ambassadors that are curious about progressing in the journey of losing body fat and increasing the lean body mass while decreasing their body fat percentage. So we're going to try to help answer some of those questions. Just one of the many benefits that you get when you're a FNX ambassador. Let's go. All right, workout time. We just wrapped our live with the ambassadors talking about protein and its influence on fat loss, and now we're gonna hit some work. I'm gonna hop in on what I had programmed for Chase today, which is kind of like a rendition of Fight Gone Bad. So we'll hit a station rotation. This one involves no rest. Movements are definitely different than Fight Gone Bad, but get a little bit warmed up and then let it rip.